Hey guys, so today we're going to be working on this 1981 Mercedes 240D. So let's get into it. So while driving, it would get sluggish and then it stalled while driving. And when you open the hood, you get to see why. So I thought, why not check the diesel system, since I know sometimes, they can become clogged with air or something. Well, it turns out there's no fuel getting from the tank to up here, because when you pump this, it just gets air and more air and more air. It doesn't really, or it will just get air and then finally get fuel, but it'll die again shortly after. So the problem usually is there's a little strainer at the bottom of the tank that needs to be cleaned. So let's get into that. So these are gonna be all the tools you need. This is a 3/4 drive ratchet from Harbor Freight. This is a 1 13/16 inch socket from Napa to get the strainer out. You're gonna need a pair of pliers, a flathead or Phillips head screwdriver, and a 3/4 inch just a crescent wrench. That'll be all you need to do this job. Tool wise, you will also need either a parts cleaner or brake clean, and some oven cleaner, and a toothbrush or a stiff bristled just work brush. I'll link it down in the description for you. But so let's go ahead and get into getting it off. So I went ahead and removed the line, but if you come under the car from the rear end, and this the rear right wheel, and the driver's side is on the left, you'll see this little hose and a giant socket bolt up in there. So what you're going to want to do is take off the little hose clamp. Surprisingly, those are from factory. They look modern. And then you just take that, make it loose, grab that with a pair of pliers and twist it until it breaks free, and then you should be able to wiggle it off. I suggest reaching your hand up here, and you can see the line right here. Hold this with one hand, that way you don't move that hard line too much, just because I don't want to risk breaking the hard line. And then you'll take your 19mm or 3/4 inch crescent wrench and take off this. As you can see, I have 1/4 of a tank left, and this flow, that's it. That's all the flow I have. Which, let's be honest, that's not going to supply an engine, because this is the bottom of the tank. That's not enough fuel to drive anything. Maybe your lawnmower. So let's go ahead and take this off. So once you get it off, it looks something like this. This is the male drive that goes into the mesh filter. You'll have your little clamp and the hose. This is all it is. So let's go ahead and remove the giant socket bolt that holds the strainer in. Okay, so after a lot of effort, I got this out. So I took this hose out, which should have let the fuel flow out. I only got about 1 inch of fuel out of the container. I took this out, and it has poured out. If you can see that container back in there is full of diesel now. So this is definitely dirty. So let's go ahead and get this cleaned up. I did. You will eat just a little bit of this up if you're working on it. This isn't, I guess it's like painted black more than likely, but don't round this out. Make sure you get the right socket. Okay, for this step you're gonna want a little bin, some paper towels probably, either a toothbrush. I have a little soft bristle brush here, obviously part, and you're gonna want some parts cleaner or brake clean, and some oven cleaner. So first you're gonna wipe off what you can, and you're gonna just lightly brush off as much as you can, and then you're gonna spray the oven cleaner on it. Let it sit for a few seconds or a minute or so. Rub it off with this and go all the way around on all 4 sides. Do that, and then scrub it off. Spray some parts cleaner on it, spray it down, rub it off, and then just spray parts cleaner on it and let it sit out for a second, let it dry. And then you can reinstall it in the car and it should be clean. Make sure you can see straight through it. This is just some mesh, so you should be able to see through each side. So after everything is over, you're going to want it pretty clean. So if I shine up to the light, You can see straight through it. Now there's gonna be a little bit of sediment in there, but don't worry about that. You do have other. This is just a strainer. You do have fuel filters, which I'm gonna replace. I would suggest you run the car a little bit after you clean this, and then change the fuel filters, which is what I'm gonna do, and I'll make a video on that afterward. So let's go ahead and put this back on the car. Okay, so you can see this is the nut right here. So what I suggest doing for getting it on and off is tighten it as much when you get it off. Tighten it as much as by hand, and you only should be able to have to tighten it a few little notches. So the wrench I'm gonna suggest you get in the socket, you put the wrench here and you point it that way, and you work in between that spring and this cross member right here, and that gives you enough room to tighten it and break it free. Same exact idea. Do beware, it's a little tedious, and then when you break it loose, you should only have to do about 1 or 2 turns before it comes loose enough that you can undo it by hand with your fingers. So after you get it like this, it's nice and tight for me. I can go ahead and put my fuel line back on and the hose clamp that goes on here, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, so after you have all the lines connected under the tank, you're gonna come around, and you're gonna have to put diesel in, obviously. I would suggest putting at least 3 gallons in there. And you're gonna unscrew this. If you have the white one, you're gonna twist it counterclockwise about 10 times, and then you'll be able to pump it in and out. If you have the black one, if it's a little black piece right here, you're just gonna press it in and out. Press it, count to about 40 times. It sounds excessive, but you're gonna wanna do it. Just keep pumping it. And then you can try to start the vehicle. It won't want to start initially, so you might have to give it a little bit of throttle, and then it'll start up. It'll be running a little rough. Just let it idle for about 5 minutes, and it'll get all the air out of the lines. So after you do that, you have bled the air out of the system. I would also recommend changing the fuel filters out, these two. I'll do that in the next video, because I'm going to do that as well. So we'll move on to that after the next video. See you guys next time.